Okay, this is all ready for me to put all-purpose joint compound on here now. I'm using my 12-inch. And incidentally, usually I use a 10-inch. Well, I didn't have my 10-inch, and I'm borrowing this one from an uncle of mine, and he had a 12-inch, and I kind of like it. And so what I wanted to tell you is, when you get used to working with a 4-inch knife, a 6-inch knife, don't be afraid to graduate up to the next size, because you might be able to work that one just as easily once you get the concept down of how to use your knives properly. Okay, now I'm going to float over this whole patch. And I want to get enough mud on it. I don't want to pull too much off, but yet I don't want to leave it too thick either. You leave it too thick and you might get some little bubbles in it. If you see bubbles in it, chances are you might have gotten it too thick. But I want to cover all of the quickset so that when I get ready to paint, the paint's going to accept to the patch properly. You don't want to go straight over quickset, okay? I think you know that by now. Okay, so I'm just going to skin over this whole thing. You can call it a skimming or floating, whatever you want. Because I'm up on a ladder, I can only go so far at a time. Concentrating on keeping it smooth as I go. I want to go over the edge of the quickset a little bit, not a whole lot at this point, because I've got it skimmed out so nice with the quickset, you remember? It's kind of tricky to work above your head, and it gets kind of tiring after a while too. You'll get the hang of it. Make sure you've got a light on so you can see where to put it. I can work this way if I want. This is easier for you. Working off the ladder this way. Wipe off your corners before you put it up. Extend it out a little bit further. Try to have an even pull. You don't want it to bounce. If it bounces, go over it again. Sooner or later, you're going to have to move the ladder and figure out what's going to work best for you, what angle, and that kind of stuff. This is actually a little bit nicer and easier for me going that way. Okay. Nice smooth strokes there, even pressure as you go. I see some bubbles right there. That means I got a little bit too much on there. I didn't even add water to this or anything, just because I got it on too thick. Or if I didn't mix it up, I could get it that way too, slightly. Try this way again. You get too much mud on one end or the other, you can take it and resituate it in your pan. Because as you grab it with this, you want to try to grab a full bit. See, I got it right in the middle, and I want to try to get it all the way across, and then wipe off the two ends. Now I can get a full amount on there. See? Now I can come back and wipe off the excess. So if you get a line in it and you're close to where you put it on, you can come in from the outside and swish it off. From the outside, swish it off. There's a little bit. So I can go that way and get it like that. Okay? All right. Keep it going. Hey, I'm almost done with this patch. A little bit more mud to put right here. And just keep loading it up and pulling it off. I'm going to extend it out just a hair over here. And I noticed on the ceiling, before I started, it has a skip trowel on it. And that's a good thing for me to know. So if I get any imperfections in this, it'll help me decide whether or not I need to cover them. Because I'm going to need some imperfections after this for the skip trowel look, and that's going to be a different video. Okay, but you always got to look if it's a smooth wall, ceiling finish. That's one thing. If it's a heavy spray texture, that's something else. You just have to decide what's going on. Man, see how much bigger this patch is now? But that's all right. That's what needed to be done. I think I'm done for the day here. Now if you got any little hairline ridges, you don't have to wipe those off. We can get those by sanding it or scraping those off after this dries, and then once this dries, I'm going to take a determination of whether or not I need to do any tight skimming anywhere. I don't think I'm going to. It actually is looking really good. Maybe I can just lightly sand it. That's the key too. I'll show you how to sand next time, but the main thing with sanding is you don't want to sand too much. If you sand too much of this, you're going to get it right down into the backing of the quickset, and that's not what you want to do. You're going to defeat the purpose of having this mud on there, you know. Well, that's the last thing we want. Cracks me up. I've seen some people they put the sheetrock mud on and they sand and they sand and they sand. They think they're doing such a good job and they sand it too much. Okay? Well, that's all I'm going to do for today. Now if you have any mud left in your pan, you can put most of it back in here. See, I had some in here. You can clean out your pan and put it back in here. Just don't try to dig too much of it out, okay? Because you don't want to get any dry goobers in here. That's the last thing you want for your mud. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of reposition this, and I'm probably going to get some flakes in here, and that's kind of what happens. You leave it in this bag, but I'm going to try to push it down a little bit. Okay, and it's difficult to kind of store this, but you know, if you don't get a 5-gallon bucket, this is what you got to do. Okay, so now I'm going to push the plastic right into it because I want to keep that plastic up against it, wet with the material. I've got some dry bits out here. I get the dry bits in here. Then next time I go to use this, it's going to get on my material, and some of that's going to happen. When I pull this back out, I may have to flake out and scoop out the top bits, you know. Okay, so now I can twist this back up, and there's the tie on here. And if you don't have the tie, you can take it like that and fold it under and kind of push it down. But because I have the tie, I want to try to keep that tight. As long as the plastic stays wet, it's not going to dry out and flake. Okay, try to keep as many flakes out of there as you can if you're going to store it this way. I'm going to use this tomorrow, possibly. Okay, I didn't use that much. I maybe could have gotten by with a gallon, but I wasn't quite sure. And the last thing you want is to not have enough material to finish your job. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more.